1, 2, 3, 4.
Hello, my name is Ali, and welcome to my channel. For today's video we are doing the third and final part of this video. I'll be tier ranking 2022 girl groups releases, but only in terms of their fashion. I'll be talking about the comebacks era's styling, and I'll tier rank each one of them. There are a lot of girl groups who had incredible outfits for their releases this year, and some that had not so great outfits. I'll also be mentioning some soloists because they are totally worth talking about. I already talked about some other releases, so if you are wondering where one specific release is, it may be in the first part. Of course I can't be mentioning every single 2022 girl group release, but I really tried to include most of them. I'm sorry if I didn't mention your faves. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into the video. Disclaimer. I am a fashion enthusiast and I studied fashion design in university, however, fashion is subjective. What I might think it's pretty, someone else might hate it, and it's completely okay. This isn't meant to be taken too seriously and I'm only doing it for fun. I'm only talking about the outfits, not the people wearing them. My thoughts on the clothing are just that, on the clothing, so I hope no one misunderstands it. The tiers. The first one is God Jiho. This is for those eras that were absolute perfection in the fashion department. Like they are iconic, they didn't have a single flaw, and are completely unforgettable. Just like God Jiho. Then we have Slay. This is for all the eras that were good, absolutely nothing wrong with them. But they aren't God Jiho material either. There isn't that iconicness to them. Next is Weird but it works. This is for all the eras that had odd styling but it somehow worked with the concept in the song. Take for example Zalabim. The styling is certainly out there but it worked. I don't know how many eras will qualify for this, but we shall see. Then we have Mid. This is for all the eras that had good styling. They weren't revolutionary, they don't necessarily have something clear that could have been fixed, but they also aren't that forgettable. They were just fine. Take this as like a middle, neutral tier. Next is Cute but forgettable. This is for all the eras that were fine, nothing too worrying about them, but they weren't impactful enough to be memorable. Then we have Throw It in the Trash. This is for all the eras that were bad. Maybe it had some nice elements, but the overall result just wasn't it. And finally, we have Jail. This is for all the eras that were atrocious. Like these stylists truly hate the idols, and decided to take revenge on their clothing. This is the worst of the worst. Nothing savable about it. Because of these teaser pictures specifically, and just the concept overall, I was expecting the fashion for this era to be in loud colors, lots of prints, unique silhouettes, and tons of color blocking. However, the fashion was not what I expected at all. Don't get me wrong, the fashion wasn't bad, but it had more muted colors and mostly just your regular girl group outfits. I think N-Mix is the perfect group to have interesting and out there fashion, and they kinda did in their debut era, but I was expecting a lot more for this one. I just wanted more of everything in every single aspect, because the girls looked great, but the day-to-day clothing the girls wore doesn't exactly match Dice. For me this belongs in the mid-tier. This was a summer release, so the bright colors, the denim pieces, and the bandeau tops make complete sense. She wore so many outfits during the promotion period, and almost every single one was amazing. Her stylists really understood how to make the outfits fun, youthful and summery, just like the song. She looked amazing every single time, but there were just this one outfit I hate because of the silhouette and the sheer supreme top, and this one that I hate because it just feels so out of place compared to all the other outfits. The comeback had this relaxed and easygoing vibe to it, which was reflected also in the outfits. I don't think this was iconic level, but it was really good, so Slay tier it is. This era had a school concept, so it makes total sense for the outfits to go for a school uniform vibe. This type of styling isn't anything we haven't seen in K-pop a million times before, but I still can appreciate the little elements they did that are unique to this era. The outfits can be divided into the casual, more realistic ones, and the more fancy and elegant ones. The varsity jacket looks were so nice, and I love how they are slightly personalized to each member. The girls didn't look bad a single time, and that's how it always should be. They also don't come from a big company, so I can always appreciate how good the styling is for groups with lower budgets. For me this isn't iconic level, but it was really good, so Slay tier. The styling for this era followed a casual and laid-back type of vibe that matched the song perfectly. Their stylists threw some 2000s elements here and there, played wonderfully with the accessories, and although the clothing was casual, it didn't look boring, or like it was meant for a variety show appearance. It still looked very much like a performance look. In some instances the girls just looked like a group of friends where each one has a completely different style, some more girly and some more tomboyish, but they still looked great and matched amazingly when they were together. This era had such good styling, and from a rookie group that seemingly debuted out of nowhere, so I can only expect amazing things for their future eras. This is slay tier for sure. This era was a summer release, so the outfits followed that vibe to a T. The stylists stuck to flowy silhouettes, with wide leg pants and A-line skirts. They had some color in their looks, but for the most part the main color palette for the outfits followed a neutral range, with whites and beiges. Promise 9 is no stranger to doing summer concepts, and when it comes to the fashion, this era has its own distinct style. The girls looked great every single time, and the fashion matched the concept nicely, however no every single stage was as good. In some instances the outfits looked messy because the stylists just threw some pieces together, and it kinda matched because of the vibe, but not the pieces itself. For me this goes in the slay tier. Most of the outfits during this era had a flowy silhouette, with some of them being the exact same but just in different colors. The girls also wore some more casual looks, and they did look great, but I have to say that they flowy ones are my favorite because of how good it looked while the girls were dancing. This styling isn't anything unique, and I get that some people might find it boring, but I like it because the silhouette of the clothing was really good, the girls looked gorgeous, and it fit the concept. With some other secret number eras, there might be a time or two, maybe even more, where some of the girls were done dirty, but not really in this instance. All the time the girls looked gorgeous. This goes in the slay tier. The styling for this era is quite unique, with interesting pieces and out there silhouettes that not everyone might like. I think it fits wonderfully with the slight annoying sound the song has, but it also isn't unbearable. Each outfit is completely different from the rest, and there isn't a clear theme behind the styling for this era. I personally don't love most of the outfits because I think some of the pieces are ugly as fuck, but I can still appreciate the effort that is behind making the outfits unique. She didn't promote for a long time, so there weren't many outfits to see, but I would have loved for the promotion period to be longer, since she would have delivered a lot more interesting looks. I'm going to put this in weird, but it works, because although the outfits weren't necessarily weird, they were really unique. This whole era has a dark and somber feeling to it, and I love how well that translated to the outfits. The main element in the fashion this era was the color black, with almost every single look in that color. But still, every outfit felt completely different and unique from the rest. The clothing was impactful and unique this era, but the stylists took it to the next level by playing a lot with the accessories. They also understand that hair plays a big part in a look, so the fact that she wore different hairstyles for each performance is amazing. And the cherry on top for me in this era, was the fact that her backup dancers perfectly matched her look, not only color-wise but also silhouette-wise, for every single performance she did. This era's styling didn't have a single flaw for me, so this belongs in God Jiho. The styling during this era didn't have a clear theme, but rather each stage having a different main color. The girls wore some really amazing and cohesive outfits like this all-black one, this all-brown one, and this pink one. But in some instances the outfits felt messy because there wasn't a clear main element that tied all their looks together. Also some outfits didn't feel like performance outfits, and more like the type of clothing idols wear on variety shows. They just were too simple and casual, not impactful enough for a performance look. Their stylists did a good use of accessories, however, they didn't completely rely on them and opted for more eye-catching clothing pieces. I don't think this era was awfully bad, but I also don't think it was amazing, so the middle tier it is. The styling for this era follows more of the same thing we've seen before in her previous eras, casual outfits and tulle. There really isn't anything interesting or unique in the outfits she wore, and it sucks because she deserves so much better. This release was so good, and had a soft touch to it, so the outfits following that exact same vibe would have been amazing. More romantic and flowy silhouettes would have looked gorgeous on her. It always feels like her stylists don't have a clear idea for the outfits, and just throw random things hoping it looks good. In this instance it did, she looked amazing every single time, but the outfits are just a snooze. This is cute but forgettable. Almost every single one of the outfits during this era followed the classic girl group formula with the pleated mini skirt and a crop top. However, they had different variations, with some looking more like school uniforms, some looking more casual, and some looking classier. This is literally the epitome of your standard girl group styling, and although it isn't anything new, it doesn't mean it's bad. I like when groups begin with styling like this because it isn't bad, and just shows the potential they have when they get more budget. There isn't much to talk about this era's styling, just that it was cute but unfortunately forgettable. This is another summer release we're talking about in this video, however, the styling for Beautiful Monster was completely unique. The whole era had this 2000s boho vibe that just worked so well with the song. The girls wore flowy silhouettes, mostly from the waist down, bright colors, and lots of crochet pieces. Every single outfit felt unique and different, while still having the same overall vibe. There wasn't a single instance where I thought one of the girls was done dirty, or just something that felt off to me. I'm actually obsessed with most of the outfits, and this pink one is my favorite by far. I know this era wasn't everyone's cup of tea, but you can't deny that the fashion game was on point. This clearly belongs in God Jiho. This era doesn't have an overall concept, therefore the outfits don't have one either. Instead, during this era, each performance look had a completely different theme from the rest. Not all of the looks were my favorite, like this one it's just so messy and bad in every way possible. But then we have this one denim look that's amazing, or this brown one, or this black one. So it could be really hit or miss. For me most of the outfits were really good, but the girls also didn't promote a ton, so there's not a lot of looks. You can clearly see how each girl has a unique style that they always go for, but they all still look cohesive as a group. This wasn't revolutionary styling, but it also wasn't awful, so the middle tier it is. Most of the outfits in this era followed a sporty vibe to them, with half looking like the girls were going to play golf, and the other half like they were working out. Just like in their debut era, the outfits were extremely similar when it came to the silhouette, but each stage had a different color palette and they added different little details so each performance felt unique. There were some less sporty outfits that also worked amazing in this era, but there were just a few of them. Some people might find this era extremely boring because of how simple the outfits were, but I actually loved this era a lot. Their stylists know what works for each girl, they know how to play with colors, and even if the clothing pieces themselves are simple, they always add a bunch of accessories to make everything so much better. So for me this belongs in Slay. Half of the styling during this era was amazing, and the other half not so great. In most of the performances their stylists gave each girl a different outfit hoping that just because of the silhouette or the color palette it would match, but that's not how good styling works. In this case the only thing in common between the girls are the fact that they are wearing dresses. In this performance Eumji stands out so much because her outfit doesn't match the others, and I just hate that. But then we have these amazing denim outfits, and I just wished more of the outfits were like this one. Also the best outfits in this era were only used in the jacket shoot, and I would have loved to see them in a performance. This era for me is mid. The styling during this era followed your classic girl crush vibe, although we also got this random denim look that just didn't match the vibe at all, but whatever. This type of styling is something we've seen before multiple times, but that isn't necessarily something bad. I actually love how their stylists always manages to give the girls individually unique outfits that still look amazing when they all come together. They also played so well with the accessories, like this look is just in black and white with uniform-inspired clothing, but they styled it so well that it doesn't look boring in the slight less. However, I have to say that some outfits did felt quite messy. In some instances there just were so many things going on at the same time that the final look didn't felt cohesive. I genuinely liked some outfits in this era, but didn't love others, so I have to put this in the middle tier. This era's outfits feel very dreamcatcher. They always tend to do costumed looks that are made from the same fabric and follow the same vibe. This era obviously wasn't the exception. We got these military outfits where each girl had a different silhouette, and they wore the same exact look in 3 different colors. We also got this 2 other military-inspired looks, but in a more casual way, that again, were basically the same outfits but in different colors. This is something we've seen the girls do in almost every era they've had, and it's a clever way to look cohesive, but it also can look boring so quick. The girls also didn't promote the song a lot, so there weren't many outfits, and although they didn't look bad, for me this is cute but forgettable. Out of all Pixie's eras, this one is the only one that follows more of a day-to-day wearable outfits. However, that doesn't mean the outfits weren't as impactful as before. Their stylists went for interesting and eye-catching looks, which was perfect. Even if the clothing piece itself wasn't groundbreaking, they made it 10 times better by adding prints, layering, and tons of accessories. There wasn't a single time that an outfit felt like it was missing something, or like it was too much. They balanced every look perfectly. There were outfits that I didn't love in terms of silhouette, but I can still appreciate how unique and interesting they were. This is exactly what I ask for when I say I want something exciting and unique. It doesn't have to be over the top, but just something that hasn't been done 1,000 times before. This is slay tier for sure. This era didn't have an overall distinct concept but just rather each stage having a different one. I like the variety of looks we got, and it just makes the whole promotion period a lot more fun since you don't know what the girls will be wearing next. I especially like the looks where each one of the girls wore different outfits, but it still looked cohesive. The girls also wore multiple monochromatic outfits that looked amazing. I didn't love the suit-inspired outfits but only because I think that they lacked accessories. ITZY is a group that is always killing it in the fashion department, and I always look forward to their comebacks because of the outfits. This one's at iconic level to me, but definitely belong in the slay tier. This era had a vampire concept, and because of the teaser pics, I thought we were going to get more gothic-inspired outfits, however that wasn't the case. I was actually surprised about the amount of colorful outfits we got. They were a bit unexpected, but that doesn't mean they don't work nicely within the era. Most of the outfits did have a dark and gothic vibe to it, but very, very slightly. In the MV we can see her in the real world at one point, so I like the idea that the more modern outfit follow that ancient vampire going to high school feeling I got from the video. Some outfits felt too simple sometimes, like a half of the look was missing, and I wished more of the outfits had a lot more goth elements, mixed still with the colorful elements we already got, but it is what it is. For me this goes in the slay tier. The fashion during this era was mid at best. Hyorin didn't look bad at any time, but the clothing itself was just boring and uninteresting. For this being her first release after Queendom, I was expecting a lot for the fashion, and unfortunately it was a bit disappointing. This green look is just bad silhouette-wise, and I liked more the green top she wore in the MV, or how it looked without the jacket. This military looks is fine, but nothing outstanding. This boxing look is the same. And the only look that I genuinely love at this full denim one, like give me more of this please. It also didn't help that she promoted only for a week since we didn't get to see more outfits. I do think this was better than her laying low era, but it still isn't enough for me so throw it in the trash tier it is. This was the perfect era to do a school theme concept for the outfits, and the fact that we got so few actual school uniform stages is a crime. Like the mix of gothic aesthetic with the classic school uniform was perfect for nerdy. Instead, their stylists went for a mostly casual styling, with lots of hoodies, jeans, sweatpants and crop tops. The girls never looked outright bad, but the outfits were extremely forgettable. At times they looked messy while performing because each girl was wearing a completely different thing that barely matched. The only look that really stood out is this pink suit one, and we didn't even get anything like it again. It felt like the stylists didn't know that they were doing and I hate that. This is throw it in the trash definitely. Most of the outfits during this era followed a pastel color palette, with a few of them looking like school uniforms, but in a completely different way that in their previous era we discussed earlier in the video. The best thing about the styling in this instance is how well their styling team used the accessories. Their stylists also understand that hair adds so much to a look and added multiple hair accessories and different hairstyles for the girls in all the performances. This era wasn't anything groundbreaking, but there wasn't a single time where any of the girls looked bad or the outfits weren't cohesive, so this is slay tier. This era had a 2000s pop rock sound, so it's fitting that the outfits match that vibe, and they actually did. They wore mostly black clothing with some instances here and there of color, but not that much. The looks were accompanied by multiple accessories, and the girls looked great, however, I wished they had more 2000s elements. Most of the outfits feel more 2014 Tumblr than 2000s pop rock. I think more low-raised jeans and classic Y2K elements would have been amazing, like in G-Idol's Tomboy. The styling this era also had a lot of similarities with Gigamangayo, which was their previous era, but they changed the plaid prints for striped prints. I'm the biggest fan of the angsty aesthetic, so I liked this era, but I think it could have been even better. For me this belongs in the middle tier. Their stylists in this era tried to make the outfits seem unique and interesting by adding a ton of different prints, different fabrics, a bunch of accessories, layering, and just everything they could in a single outfit. And spoiler alert, it didn't work. The song, concept or anything about this era was quirky or extremely unique, so I don't understand why they tried to make the outfits like that. Most of the times the girls weren't matching, their outfits were unflattering, or just plain ugly. Most of the times their outfits looked like they were performing Zimzalabim on a budget, and that doesn't match the song at all. This is the perfect example of how you don't do interesting styling. This belongs in throw it in the trash. Since I watched the MV, I fell completely in love with the outfits, and the promotion period only gave us more amazing looks. The outfits for this era followed a heavy Y2K vibe, even the ones that look like school uniforms. The girls always looked absolutely amazing. From the interesting silhouette of the outfits, to the color palette, the accessories and the hairstyles, everything was perfect. It's such a shame that we didn't get more outfits during this era, but it having more looks would have lowered the quality of the ones we got, then I don't want anything else. This era was perfect styling-wise from beginning to end, so it obviously belongs in God Jiho. The styling for this era followed your current standard girl group styling, with each stage having a different main color, and the girls wearing trendy pieces. This styling objectively isn't anything groundbreaking, but the girls looked amazing every single time, and that's all I care. The styling doesn't have to be uniquely in a forced way, Loveable with Gratata. I rather have them wearing your standard girl group look, but the girls actually looking amazing and the clothing matching the concept and song. Their stylists clearly know how to put a good outfit together, and make the girls match within the same stage. They took advantage of the accessories and hairstyles, and to me there isn't a single flaw in this era's styling, so this belongs in God Jiho. This era had two staples: denim, and furry accessories. The outfits had this casual sporty vibe to them that worked amazing with the concept. I like that we got prints this era, because they were lacking a lot in fearless fashion. The combination of the chosen pieces was done amazingly, the jewelry was minimal but their stylists added other interesting accessories. They just know what they are doing and it really showed during this era. I especially loved the outfits that had this ice princess vibe to them, and the girls just looked amazing every single time. I truly loved this era's stylings, so God Jiho it is. This era is clearly divided into different things: the oversized silhouette, and the more form-fitting silhouette. She wore multiple mini-skirt looks, but she also wore multiple baggy pants with baggy tops looks. I really like this era's styling a lot because it really showcases both the more feminine side and the more masculine side of Moonbyul. It really shows that she can do both types of vibes perfectly. There wasn't a single time where she looked bad, or even uncomfortable, which is always a plus. The school concept was also present in some outfits, but I like that they didn't always went for the plaid skirt. Like this one outfit is giving school uniform vibes but in a really interesting way we haven't seen much for female idols. This is definitely slay tier. And last, but not least, we have the big return of Kara. This era follows what I like to call a classy mature woman look, with most of them being on the elegant side, but this particular one being more on the sporty side. The girls always looked gorgeous, they matched perfectly and gave us something slightly different with each performance. The outfits by themselves were completely fine, but the makeup, accessories, and hairstyles elevated the look so much more. My only complaint is that we didn't get as much looks as I would have loved to, but it's completely understandable. This is slay tier. This is the final tier ranking. In the God Jiho tier we have Seulgi's 28 Reasons, Stacy's Beautiful Monster, Triple S Generation, Woo's Rollercoaster, and La Seraphim's Antifragile. In the slay tier we have Choi Yujing's Sunflower, Woo's Catch the Stars, 50/50's Higher, Promise 9's Stay This Way, Secret Numbers Tap, Haiki's Run, Pixie's Villain, Itzy's Chesire, Lee Chaeyoun's Hush Rush, Woo's Danger, Moonbyul's Cheese in the Trap, and Kara's When I Move. In the weird but it works tier we only have Yua's Selfish. In the mid tier we have Nmix's Dice, Mimoras's Rose, Mamamoo's Illela, Vivi's Loveade, Kepler's We Fresh, and Billy's Ring Ma Bell. In the cute but forgettable tier we have Yuri's Loveable, CSR's Pop, and Dreamcatcher's Vision. In the throw it in the trash tier we have Hyorin's No Thanks, Purple Kiss Nerdy, and Lapillus's Gratata. And lastly, in the jail tier, surprisingly we don't have anything. That was everything for the video. I wanted to include as most releases as possible in this video, but there's still some I couldn't include because of time. I already did a first and second part, and if you haven't you can check them on my channel. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with my choices, and what was your favorite styling era from 2022. If you want to see more of me, I do K-pop fashion videos mixed with some other stuff here and there, so you can subscribe to my channel if you want to. Don't forget to like and thanks for watching. Bye.
나는 건물 사이에 피어난 장미 삭막한 이 도시가